Okay, before I start today's DOSBox Staging setup guide for Windows PC, if you like what you see today, hit notifications, subscribe and like so you don't miss upcoming retro emulation content here on my channel, just Jamie. That means you'll get notified every time I release a new setup guide, and it really helps out my channel too. So I uploaded a guide for DOSBox X just the other day, and some people on social media say it doesn't look authentic. So that's one thing, and the next thing is I've discovered a new emulation system. This is DOSBox Staging, which is actually going to emulate how these games really should look like. So what we're going to do is head over towards the DOSBoxStaging.org website, and I'm going to download this for Windows. This we can see just here, this is also available for Mac OS as well as Linux, but we're doing this for Windows. And just to give you a brief little rundown of what this can do, let's just scroll through here. So what this is going to do is actually emulate particular styles of how it would have looked back in the day, from resolutions, and we can upscale things. And what I'm going to do then is actually just take you through the basic setup guide for this today. So I've downloaded Staging, and you're going to download a zip folder just like I have. If we extract this zip folder, so very slightly different from DOSBox itself, it's just like an evolution of DOSBox, and it really gives us that amazing look which DOS games looked like back in the day, like I've been saying. So what we're going to do is open up the DOSBox Staging folder we just extracted, and we're going to run the DOSBox executable. If we just open this one, more info, run anyway. Here we go then. So if this is recording correctly, you should see a very slight scan line, and it looks pretty good. If we press Alt and Enter, we can go into full screen mode, and Alt and Enter to come out again. Now the thing which is very different from the guide I did the other day with DOSBox X is that we can actually mess around with configuration files. Now that I've opened this up, what we're going to do is look for a configuration file. Your configuration for this would have auto-generated when you opened it up, so it's quite likely going to be in your C drive. And from your C drive, if we just scroll down, we're going to find users. Now you need to select your system folder. It's Jamie in my case. If I go inside of here, it's then going to be in your app data folder, in your local folder, and if we scroll down, we should find DOSBox. Here's DOSBox. If we go inside, DOSBox Staging configuration, and this is what you need to start configuring things and making things look just how we want. So this is everything that we need just here. It looks very daunting admittedly, but it really isn't too bad at all. If we just scroll down just a touch, get to this section just here, we'll see full screen. This is currently on false. What I'm going to do for starters is just backspace false and type in true. We also got different display settings here, such as VSync, which is currently set to auto. Again, that's just a case of maybe setting that to true or false, but I'm going to leave that just as auto for now. We also got output. Now this is set by default to OpenGL. If we scroll up just a little tad, we're going to find output just here, and it's going to give us some information on each one of these. Now for pixel perfect, what I'm going to do is just scroll back down to output, which says OpenGL, and I'm going to put PP on the end, so this is pixel perfect. Okay, so whatever settings you make inside of this configuration file, it's very important that you go to File and Save, otherwise it's not going to work. So what we're going to do then is go back into DOSBox Staging, so DOSBox executable, and as you can see, that's now booted directly into a full screen, just because I messed around and edited that configuration file. But we got things to set up, so we're going to want some games on here. So the first thing I'm going to suggest doing is going into your C drive, and I've created a DOS folder just here. Now in the DOS folder, I'm going to pop some games in here. Now I've got Doom 2, I've got Gods, which is a classic, and I've got Jazz, Jackrabbit. Now if I drag and drop those inside of that DOS folder, now they're in place. And if you're new to DOS emulation or DOS games, this is generally what DOS games are going to look like. So you're likely going to find some BAT files, some exe files, but generally this is what they're going to look like, so very similar. So what we're going to do then is actually boot up one of these games. So I'm going to go to DOSBox Exe, Okay, so first of all, of course, we need to mount our directory of our games, that DOS folder I just created. So I'm going to do this by typing in mount, C, and finally DOS. If I then press enter, local directory mounted as C drive. And next up, I'm going to type in C, and we're going to press enter. And there we go, we now mounted that directory. So instead of saying Z, we're now in C. Next thing I'm going to type in is dir directory. So as we can see, we got listed here the same games as I just put into my DOS folder. So we got Doom 2, Gods, and Jackrabbit. What I'm going to do is go inside of Doom 2. So to do this, I'm going to type in CD, and then I need to type out Doom 2, and then that little wiggly line you can see just there, I'm doing that. I'm pressing my tab button to bring that up. If I press enter, we're now inside of Doom 2, or rather we got that mounted. I next need to type in dir again to open up this directory, and here we go. So just as I explained just a minute ago, we're going to have lots of executable files. Now to open this game, I'm going to type in doom2.exe. That's the third file down from the top you can see. So if I type in doom2.exe, press enter. And there we go. So to exit the game, I've just literally quit out of DOSBox just to clear everything. So what else can we do with this configuration file? We can do a lot of it. So instead of manually typing in to mount the C drive, we can actually set this up through configuration file, which I showed you earlier. So if I press Alt and Enter, and I'll just quit out of DOSBox Staging. Now we need to look for that configuration file. So just remember, it's going to be in your C drive. It'll be in your users folder, into your system names folder, so Jamie in my case, app data, local, and in local we got the DOSBox folder. If we go inside of here, and we're going to open up DOSBoxStaging.config. Now I actually use Notepad, and this works fine with this. So what we're going to do is set some instructions for DOSBox Staging to automatically mount that C drive. So if I just scroll right to the bottom, and as we can see just here, it's going to say Auto X. So what I'm going to do is just add a couple more lines here. So just below the hashtag just there, I'm going to type in mount C, and just follow exactly what I'm doing, and this should work for you too. So I'm going to press enter to go to the next line I'm going to add, and type in this. And again, like I say, it's always important to go to file and save everything that you're doing just here. Now, if I open up DOSBox Staging again, and there we go. So as you can see, it's automatically sent us direct to C. So all I need to do is type in dir, and there we go. We're straight in rather than type in everything manually. Very awesome stuff. So let's test out another game. We got Gods. So to open this, I'm going to type in cd Gods, and I'm going to press directory to go inside of that folder. So to boot this game up, I'm going to type in gods.exe. Okay, so GODS is also working really well as well. Now, the beautiful thing about DOSBox Staging is we can actually add new shaders to it. Now, I'm going to leave the link in my description for this GitHub page. What this is going to do is allow us to download files to give game-specific looks. So if we take a look at this section just here, under shader name, we got literally the shader name, and it's also going to tell us the output setting to use, which I'm going to go through in a minute. It looks a little bit confusing, but it really isn't that bad. So we got plenty of shaders just here to download, and in a minute when we go into the folder where these are going to go into, you'll notice there isn't anything in there. So this is a good thing about this, we can actually add to make things look a lot better, a little bit like RetroArch. So what we're going to do is download some of these. I've already downloaded some, but I'm going to show you how to do it. If we just go upwards on this GitHub page, go to CRT, and here's all the .glsl shaders just here that you can download. Now to download one of these, for example, I clicked on scanline.glsl, and from here you're going to find a little download raw file. If I just click on this one, as you can see, it's now downloaded that, and it's that simple. But we're going to go back to this page because it's going to tell us here which output settings to use. So we're going to go back into where the configuration file is. So very simply, C drive, into my users folder, into my system folder, into my app data folder, local folder, and into that DOSBox folder. And here it is. Now we got the GL shaders folder just here. So I'm going to drag it in my free shaders into that folder. So they're now put in place. And the shader I'm going to use is CRT aperture. So I'm going to just go to rename and just make a copy of that name, because we're going to need to use that in the configuration file into DOSBoxStaging.config. And here we go then. So from here we do need to change a couple of things, but it really isn't that hard. So first of all, under output section, it says OpenGL. So we're going to have to refer to that GitHub page. Now I'm using the top one just here, and it says output setting to use OpenGL NB. So I'm going to go back to that configuration file and add NB at the end just there. And if I scroll downwards, I also need to tell DOSBox Staging the name of my shader I'm going to be using. So just scroll downwards. And here we go, GL shader. Now, if this is your first time using this system, you'll have a name in it. But what I'm going to do is just paste in the name of that shader, CRT aperture. So I'm going to go to File, Save. And if I close this down, what I'm going to do is open up Doom with this shader now being used. So DOSBox. Okay, next up I'm going to show you how to get a completely different look altogether, so a very vintage look. This is Hercules display, and of course it's just another case of going into directory for the configuration file, at which point I'm getting very sick to death of keep going through these files and folders. So what I'm going to do is show you how to actually access this a lot quicker. So what I'm going to do is just right click on DOSBox and I'm going to go to pin to start. Now if I go to my start menu, Here it is. So I can now open up DOSBox very easily. Here's my configuration file. So what we're going to do is enable Hercules. Now we need to scroll down and you're going to find it under machine. So all I need to type in here is Hercules. And then of course we need to save this. So file and save. Now if I open up DOSBox, and there we go, we now got a Hercules display. How awesome does this look? And as it says, if we press F11 we can actually cycle through different colours. And I'll just change machine over to VGA, so let's check out the game Abuse and see what this actually looks like. And that's it for today's DOSBox Staging setup guide for Windows PC. So which you could appreciate, I could have went on and on and on with this video. There's a lot of combinations you can use, lots of different shaders you can use. You can even download sound fonts to improve sound. But like I say, I could have been going on for a long time with this video and setting things up. Just one thing to remember, if you do change machine to say Hercules, then particular games, later games such as Abuse in Wolf 3D, Wolfenstein 3D, likely won't work because you're literally changing the machines over. Anyways, if you liked today's video, hit notifications, subscribe and like so you don't miss upcoming retro emulation content. And if you're interested in computer emulation, I'll leave the link below, which will be the playlist for every microcomputer emulator setup guide that I've ever covered. Anyways, join me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. But until next time, stay retro.